went to college when I was 17. And sometimes adults make it seem as though you're supposed to know what you want to do for the rest of your life at 17. So people kept saying, like, what do you want to do? What are you studying? You know how we do that to college kids and we like pressure them. So what you study? What do you want to do? I'm 17. I know people who are 42 and still haven't figured out what they want to do. Hey, but watch this. I played the resume game. In my experience working at a mall, I worked at a retail store, men's and women's clothing store, for extra money, for books, etc., where I was in school. My experience working at the mall outweighed my degree. The mall offered me $40,000 a year when I got my degree to start managing that very store I was a salesperson at. But in all the interviews I went on in PR, public relations, I was offered $24,000 a year. So $24,000 with my degree, $40,000 without my degree. Somebody tell me what I did. Yeah, I stayed at the mall. Like most people in America, I never had a job with my college degree. And so I stayed there working 60 to 80 hours a week. And if you ever work retail management, you know my hours. If people call in sick, you got to go in. The weekends are the most important times typically, so you miss out on everything that happened on a Saturday or Sunday. So at 25, I'm like, no way am I going to do this for the rest of my life. Because back then they said retirement was 55. And when you're 25, 55 is old. You know what I mean? It's like ancient when you're in your 20s. Look, it ain't ancient anymore. It's halftime, baby. Come out the locker room, third quarter. What's up? But back then it was like double overtime. So I'm like 55. And here's what the gentleman said. I'll never forget it. He was a friend of the family. He was the only person I knew who was an entrepreneur. Millions of dollars. He drove my dream cars. And so Mr. Brooks is his name. And he says, Darnell, what are your goals? And I had never set goals. Like I set a goal like, I'm going to be able to lose this kind of weight or lift this amount of weight, goals like that. But I never set a financial goal ever. And he says, what do you want to do after the mall? I hadn't thought of that either. And I said, well, they told me retirement is 55. He said, retirement has nothing to do with age, but everything to do with the amount of money you have. He said, when you can have a reoccurring, predictable cash flow, you can retire at any age. That at 25 has shifted my thinking. My professors didn't teach me that. My parents didn't teach me that. And so it changed my thinking. How many people know that you can think differently and grow rich? Yeah. And that's what happened for me. At 25 years old, I shifted my thinking. However, the money didn't come right away. So I went on a downward spiral from 25 to 28. I went from 2 cars to 1 car. Sometimes you set a goal, you go backwards. I don't know if anybody's ever been in that position. You're like, this doesn't feel right. But at 28 years old, I was introduced to Legal Shield, long story short, and it blessed our life. I did over 90,000 our first year, which felt like $1 billion. You come from nothing, 90,000 feels like a whole lot of money. And so we did 90,000 our first year. The second year we did over 250,000. My wife walked away from her job with BET, Black Entertainment Television, on maternity leave with our son there in the middle. We keep track of how long she's been on maternity or eternity leave because he's 25 years old. So we both have been jobs free since we were in our 20s because of the business I'm about to share with you.